This video brought to you by Barnett, manufacturers of the finest American-made clutches since 1948. Find a clutch for your bike at barnettclutches.com and feel the Barnett difference. Greetings everybody, I'm Chris Keefer. Welcome to RacerXOnline.com and welcome to fall weather here in Southern California. A little bit windy. We are a week out from the World Vet Nationals, but today we have something pretty special. It's been a long time since I have ridden a TM, I think maybe back in the Dirt Rider days. So today we got a 2025 TM 300 four-stroke. We talk a lot about the 350 sizing and how that is the perfect size for a lot of riders out there. Well, today we got another Italian brand, but they have a 300 out. So I'm gonna go attack the windy hills of Glen Helen Raceway. We're gonna break this whole Italian brand down and tell you who this brand could be for and how a 300 four-stroke rides the hills of Glen Helen. So stay tuned. All right guys, that wraps it up here at Glen Helen Raceway. Fall day, pretty windy, so don't judge the rider technique today, and jumping probably wasn't at a maximum today. But nonetheless, we got a good feel of what this TM 300 has to offer. And for me, I don't have a lot of expectations. I don't have much time on a 300 size bike at all. Mostly a 350, and if I rode a 300, it's on the two-stroke side. So having a unique four-stroke that is 300 cc's is kind of cool. So I always talk about 450s being a lot of bike, and especially when you get older, you don't need that all that power to have fun on a motorcycle. So here I am, I'm almost 50 years old, and I find myself having more fun on a 350, built 250 four-strokes. If you guys go back to all these videos, you always hear me talk, well, I had a great time today on a 250 four-stroke, and I was shocked. But so I wasn't expecting a lot from today, but for me, the TM, one thing that stood out to me right away when I got on the track, I ride at Glen Helen here a lot. Even though they grade it and they prep it, there's still a lot of stuff underneath that they don't get, so it's really hard, and those bumps live underneath. So I'm really finicky with chassis, and for me, the chassis has probably the most comfort that I have felt in a chassis since a Triumph. So I'm really fond of a Triumph chassis feeling, and I like the stability and the bump comfort of a Triumph. This is very similar for me. Without fuel, TM claims it is at 99 kilograms, which is 218 pounds. So it is a 2-gallon tank, and it is unique because it is centralized in the middle of the motorcycle. So when you guys are gonna fill up your tank, you fill it up right here, which is kind of weird for us Americans, but in the world of CG, which is really important, I mean, when I go do these production tests, CG feel is one of the key categories that we try to focus on when we ride a dirt bike. CG feel predicts side-to-side movement on the bike, it predicts stability, it predicts pitching. So when you have a fuel tank that is centralized in the middle of the motorcycle, that is a lot different than anything that most of you watching this have ever felt. So right when I got on the track today, the chassis for me was the highlight. Look, we talk about lightweight and maybe chassis isn't as much of an importance to you guys, but for me, it really predicts my fun level for riding. And when you have a chassis that is compliant, it's not rigid, it corners, you have good contact feel, for me, I already have a smile on my face. So having a nice chassis like this TM does really helps me have a good time on the track. So that is the first thing that I noticed. Now, if you guys are wondering about the power plant, what's it feel like? And I know some of you guys out there have never ridden a 300 four-stroke. It basically feels like a big bore 250 with a little bit more top end. That's what I can explain it like. When usually you big bore a 250, you don't get a lot of rev. You get more torque and it doesn't have peak horsepower. For me, this has a smoother linear torque feel out of a corner. So of course, second gear is pretty smooth. But once you shift into third, it pulls third gear very far, and that's unlike a 254 stroke with a big bore. So it's like a big bore, maybe with a Vortex ECU. That's the easiest way I can explain it to you guys out there. So it revs out, but also has a nice linear, easy to use feel with a little bit more meat than a 250 stock 4-stroke. So that's the easiest way I can package that information out to you. So that is also fun. Do I wish it had more response? Yes. It does have 2 maps up here on the map switch. What I found out, and I told TM, I go, look, I feel like it could be a little bit cleaner. It does have a little bit of decel pop, but what they told me that if you have the right tools, you can change that mapping, but you have to have a laptop, and it's not as easy as having a power tuner map. But nonetheless, ECU cleanup is fairly easy to do. So I don't know how many aftermarket ECU companies offer anything for the TM, but if I had one of these, I'd be really curious to try an aftermarket ECU to see if I can get a little bit more power and some more response. But in stock form, it's not dirty off the bottom. It doesn't have any acceleration dirtiness. It just has a little bit of popping on decel that's only noticeable from 100% throttle opening to 0. So that was the only negative for me on the ECU side. As far as suspension goes, look at KYB suspension. It is sprung a little bit soft for me. It is a 4.6 spring and a 5.0 rear spring. I probably would go up to a 4.8 for me. I'm almost 180 pounds. But for a soft feeling motorcycle, there's not a lot of pitching. And I feel like I owe that to the chassis. The way the chassis is laid out. If you look at this chassis, you might think the way the head tube is, just by the naked eye, you might think, it's gonna be stiff. But it's not stiff at all. So I feel like with the clamps and the chassis and having that soft suspension, it's a nice blend of comfort, especially here on Southern California on the West Coast. If you guys are gonna look at a TM and you're a heavier dude, you might wanna try to get some springs, but it is nice that it comes with KYB suspension because I am a KYB fan. It's hard to replicate a KYB feel with any other brand of suspension out there. And for me, it's nice to have that stock on this TM. It comes with nice parts. It has Brembo brakes, a Nissan rear brake, a hydraulic clutch, HGS muffler system. It sounds throaty. The intake noise is similar to a Yamaha when you're climbing up to Talladega. It has that suction feel, but not as loud as a Yamaha. And overall, it's just a very fun bike to ride. As you guys can tell, we had a DJI camera on here today. Simon always puts these cameras on my handlebars, and as you can see, I can move around on the bike really well because of that seamless feel. And another thing that I want to add too, 1351 is the stock gearing. We did a 1352, added a little bit more response, get you out of the corners a little bit better. And for me, that is key for my 180-pound vet lazy ass. That is huge for me to get that response out of the corner and get down the straightaway in third gear quicker. I was telling the guys I wish the foot pegs were down and back a little bit for my 5'11 frame, but you can hop on it and it's very easy to get used to. I like they don't have ape hangers for bars. We were talking about the old school TMs and they were very tall. This is very flat, very neutral, and for me, just very comfortable to hop on and ride. And sometimes not a lot of other media magazines talk about this, but something really important for me is seamless feel. And in the world of locking in, gripping with your legs, moving around on the bike, sometimes you can get caught up. For example, the new Honda, in the shroud area, there's holes in the shroud, and my knee braces get caught up in there when I'm trying to lift my leg up in a rut. This has a very nice seamless feel, like gas-esque up here, kind of reminds me of that, but very smooth. There is an opening in the shroud, but I don't get hung up at all on here, and it's easy to grip. For me right here, I can lock in under there. So the seamless feel for me is quite good, which for me, I like. Again, this is my first impression, only had maybe a couple hours on the bike today, but I'm quite surprised. Hopefully TM will bring more models over here, let us ride, have a little bit of a longer time with these things, get you some more information. But if you're looking for something different, around $12,000, I talked about that's a little bit expensive, but for you guys out there that want something different, you're pulling up to the track, It is red. They do offer this red color as well. They have a gray edition as well as this red one. But for me, if you want to be different, have fun on a motorcycle, and what's even better is when you beat guys on 450s on a Yamaha or Kawasaki, and you're on something smaller and something different, it's easy to jab them a little bit more and say, hey, look at this little bike that I bought from Italy that just smoked you up the hills of Glen Helen. So for me, I had a good time. I'm pleasantly surprised with the TM and look forward to riding some more product from them. If you guys want any more information, you can hit me up, chris@keeferinctesting.com. That's a virtual door just cracked open for you guys out there that can ask questions. Happy to help you guys out. Before we leave here, I mentioned the soft suspension. We are at 105 millimeters of sag. I did go 3 in on the clickers on the fork, and that helped bring that up without any harshness. So I'll have some of those clicker numbers for you guys. If you guys do have a TM, I'll give you some baseline settings that I used here today and share those to you. But just hit me up on my email and happy to help you. And don't forget, we have a magazine. There's people that still read, 12 issues, $30. Get a free gift when you do that. And as always, racerxonline.com for more content, races, bike tests, whatever you need. We got it covered for you right here on RacerX. So thank you to TM and the guys over there for letting me ride this. It's a unique brand and fun to ride. We'll see you on the next test.